What up, people? I go by the name Jerry. Just a little bit about myself and how I started music. I once had this close friend who said I should leave music for musicians. And keep in mind, this was way before I started making music. And she said leave music for musicians. That was really what triggered me making music. Because coming from a close friend, that really hit me. Negativity, you're always gonna get negativity. There's always gonna be people who would say you're not good at it, who would just try to bring you down. And one thing that keeps me going, that I believe should keep anyone going, is just believing in yourself. So whatever it is you're doing, you have to believe in yourself before anyone else will. All eyes on me in the spotlight, bro, the spotlight. All eyes on me in the spotlight. See, I remember we didn't fuck with me. When I long for your company, I for invest in your company.
I cannot sing or speak eloquently in front of a group of people. So does that mean that my gift of dancing, my gift of drumming is worthless? No, seriously, are those gifts truly worthless? Do you compare yourself to others? Or have other people forced you to believe that your gifts are not good enough? So the big question right now is, how do you nurture the unique gifts you have? How do you build your confidence? And most importantly, how can you use your gifts to impact the lives of others? Joining me in today's discussion is a notable CEO from Lagos, Nigeria. He's a career coach, an executive coach, and most importantly, the CEO of the Jimi Tewe company. So join me in welcoming Jimi Tewe. Hey! So how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Actually, how are you enduring the Chicago cold?
Well, we're doing well. So far, so good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been good.
I really salute you because I've been in Chicago for about a year and a half now, and every time I'm just so ready to be done with the winter. So, great one.
Yeah.
So anyways, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Because I'm sure some of the viewers are itching to know who Jimi Tewe is.
Wow, that's a lot, but let's see what we could do. So my name is Jimi, and I grew up in Ibadan. It's an ancient city of Ibadan. I'm in Nigeria. I'm 40 years old. I'll be 41 in a few weeks, actually.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. Married, and I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and that's all I ever will have.
You never know.
No, I know. And then from a personal point of view, I do a bit of career coaching, executive coaching. I have a background in human resource management, so I've worked in a couple of organizations before. My business will provide particularly learning interventions for organizations because I'm very particular about personal development and of course productivity in organizations. So I have conversations with CEOs, create programs for them that would enhance their productivity. I do a lot of public speaking. I love talking. All right. So I love making money by talking. And then I just enjoy being myself.
Wow, perfect. So basically, he's a jack of all trades, but master of all.
Yeah, we're trying.
That's good. All right, so let's just get started with the whole purpose of this video.
Yeah.
So how did Jimi Tewe become Jimi Tewe? So what happened that made you chase for who you are today?
All right. Yeah. So if you had met me when I was in my teenage years, I was very withdrawn. I'm going to be married on this week, and one of the friends I'm saying knew me. I would go to the house typically. They're very surprised at me today because they're like, how, what happened to you? And I think that my change really happened with a bit more of self-awareness and self-discovery in my, I think, second year in college. And during that period, of course, there's a spiritual part to it. You know, certain things I felt God was speaking to me about. I was like, no, it's somebody that's talking about. But as I began to exercise it, I was in a particular church at that point in time. My pastor asked me to take announcements, and then I told him I was going to fail if I did it, and he said fail, and I did.
Yeah.
You know, but I noticed that I actually enjoyed that process, and I enjoyed how we would go then to some schools to go do career talk. And I remember one day, my own role was organizing stuff. And then one particular day says, "You are going to say something for 5 minutes." I'm like, hey, what am I going to say? And I remember that I shared the story about my dad, and it helped people.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I could do this. And then in my final year in college, I had this group of friends who were running a company, and I happened to be in one of their meetings one day, and I gave them some advice, and they paid me $1,000. It's about $3.
Wow.
But today now, but then it was quite. And I was like, is there any job where you just talk and give advice? And so I found consulting, and so I found consulting. So I worked with a consulting firm, then with an NGO, then a consulting firm, and then worked in 2 banks. And I decided to just pursue this. So essentially, I've just been in an adventure where everything that allows me to be me, I'm pursuing that. So what I tell people is this, that look, I think that the essence of life is to be the best version of you that there can be, not just for you, but for the world around you. So for me, if I have a gift around speaking, I have a gift of being able to articulate words and present it in a way that's attractive, then it's not just for me, but for the world around me.
Okay. Yeah. And actually, before I go to my next question, I really liked your story because it seemed like things didn't really seem to be so clear at the beginning. You started doing something first, and with time it got clearer. Because I was going to ask this other question, how people can find their purpose. Because there are some people that I feel they've actually found their purpose, their gift, but because of resistance they get from other people, they feel they haven't found it yet. So what's your advice to them, or advice to people in general that feel they haven't found themselves yet? Well,
first rule of finding is you cannot find without moving. Have you ever lost a key before? Sat down and said, where's my key? Where's my key? So you gotta move and all that. So I tell people that the thing about purpose is that discovery is always at the end of exploration. So you must be willing to explore. So the part of the story I didn't share with you is that I tried many things before. I did real estate. I tried to sell land. I sold clothes, in Nigeria. I tried to open a place where we would sell fries and chicken, but there was some politics around us, so I couldn't do that. The one that I like to talk about the most is that I wanted to be a rapper. R-A-P-P-E-R.
Can you give us some lines right now?
No. Okay, no. I mean, I'm retired, But for real, I joined the rap group. I did, wow. But every time I used to forget my rap on stage. So I just realized that wasn't what it is. Yeah, exactly. But I tried, and that's the thing that is there. And I tell people that, look, whatever is in your heart that is good, and the way you know it's good is that it's not just you that enjoys it, but helps other people. Do it. And then the earlier you are, the earlier you do it in life, the better it is. Because when you start getting responsibilities, there are many things you cannot try to do again longer, because the impact has to do with family and many other things. So I advise people to try to find out, because everybody that we find today, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and everybody, they were just pursuing what it is that they're good at, and all that. So for me, there are many things that you think, and then you spoke about the aspect about what people would say, maybe your parents. I remember the first time I started doing all this thing, I used to read books. I remember a book I was reading called The Magic of Thinking Big, and my father said, you will just run mad, read your school books, but I find out that what parents are looking for is success, because if you succeed at anything, the same parents will be like, that's my son, that's my daughter. So what parents require is success, but they think it's a particular path you must pass. So, but what I tell people is that you need a bit of wisdom to know how to handle situations. So some people, they rebel and it works out. We rebel and it doesn't work out. I tell people that depends on the circumstance, but you owe it to your world. The word you is an acronym. YOU means you owe us. And what that says essentially is that you are something that you're meant to deliver to this world.
So 2 things. I really liked what you just mentioned, but before I add anything to it, I want to go back to what you spoke about regarding finding that purpose. You just have to keep moving. So just a few minutes ago, I was telling you about what I heard from Pastor Lang, I loved his analogy about how you just have to do to be able to find the right thing. He gave this analogy, like if you're going somewhere, if you enter your car, right, and you put the address on your GPS, you have to start moving before your GPS says, turn right, turn left. You're just stagnant, like you're not going to go anywhere. So that's basically to support your point. So if you ever feel that you can't really find yourself right now, rather than just sitting out and just saying, God, please help me, just reveal my purpose to me. Please don't do that. Just try something. Like he said, you know what you're good at, right? Start that, and with time, things will get clearer. So I guess it just brings me to my other question. Do you feel that there are certain passions we have that are not good enough?
I think every innovation we have today started from a place of like an idea where people were just testing, and probably people were even skeptical about whatever people were going to do. So when Steve Jobs said, "Oh, I wanted to create something that had music on it," nobody was doing it at that point in time. And I tell people that, look, being an innovator, a pace setter is a tough thing, a pioneer, because you're trying to create what does not exist, but what people are going to look forward to later. So you have to either take that pioneer status and say, look, I don't care. I'm going to be true to myself. Now, I gave something earlier, which is the balance, because I see some people that are true to themselves and they're living in their own world. The balance is that whatever it is you're doing must also be a blessing to others also. So think about it. Have you gotten people that have said to you, that will thank you for this video, thank you for that? Those, even this one comment. I have a friend, his name is Steve Harris, and he created this online webinar. He was going to, he publicized it, and it was meant to be huge, and nobody registered a few hours. So he was in the house with his wife, and says, you know what, that I'm going to cancel that. Even if I got one person that paid, I would have done it, but nobody, so I'm not going to do it. A few minutes after he gets a credit, someone that paid, it was like, what's it? Now says it's his wife. So you said you should get one person, and that one person today he's bought a house doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, the beginning is never always easy, but you must stay with your convictions. You must realize the potential impact that is there. Now, if you're doing stuff that's not impacting anybody or not, you might need to rethink it. Exactly, yes.
Okay,
but then, yes. Exactly. So that's what I'll say, So I mean, think about it now. Someone's going to watch this video and get some sort of clarity. So why shouldn't you do it? And I tell people that, look, don't be about crowds. Be about one. Be a blessing to one person. If this thing can help one person, then it's enough. What I find is when it's a blessing to one, then it'll be a blessing to all. That's what I find out. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so before we continue with our conversation, we're actually going to take a quick break. And before we go on break, we're going to be hearing from OhMaGod, who would also be sharing his story. So please stay tuned, because we're going to be discussing more about building more confidence with the unique gifts you have. I'll catch you on the next part of this video. Bye.
When I hear a song, the imagination of the song comes to my head, which makes me laugh. I recreate it that way, and everything I do, I enjoy. That is why resistance does not really matter to me, because it's not everything I put out that people like. So far, the resistance is not coming from a place of me putting out maybe something that is unethical, because I try not to do that because of the kind of brand I'm pushing. There's never been a time I did something that nobody liked. Maybe if I now put out something and I end up being the only person that liked it, maybe that would make me feel somehow.
You move mountains, you cause walls to fall in your power.
I didn't really pay attention. The thing that really gets to me is when somebody just comes from nowhere and say, I stole their idea. Meanwhile, they are just trying to get clout. But over time, I realized that people just try to do anything to get your attention, so that once you respond, they want to use you to climb. I don't really pay attention to negativity, because when you have a focus, when you have something you are looking at, like you have a goal, nothing around you really matter. I studied electrical and electronics engineering, but I wasn't going to do that. I knew I could sing. I knew I was funny. My fear was, how do I make a career out of this? I didn't know what to do. These are the things I love. These are the things that I can spend a whole day in my studio making music, or Until now, I can't answer how I've come this far. The only answer I always give is God. It's basically God has been ordering my steps. The fact that it's God does not mean you should not do your part. I do a lot of work. Now, if you say I should write a story about my life to advise other people on what to do, I don't really have the formula. Although, the thing I would say is, find your passion. If you are passionate about something, nothing will discourage you. There will always be a hope that something will come out of it.
Ọdún ayabo fún gbogbo wa o. Ẹ kú ọdún o. Ẹ kú ọdún o. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń fẹ́ mi lọ́kànkán o. Ẹ kú ọdún o. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń support OMG Limited o.